You're listening to the Recovered Life Show, the show that helps people in recovery live their best recovered lives. And here is your host, Damon Frank.
And welcome back to the Recovered Life Show. It is Monday, February episode 79. How you doing, Kristina?
I'm great. I'm happy to be here.
Really good to see you on this Monday morning. It wouldn't be a Monday morning if we didn't have a little bit of drama.
Little struggle.
So sorry we're a little late. We try to go live at 8 a.m. On Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays now. But unfortunately, we had a little bit of problem with the stream. So here we are now.
We are here now. And today is my anniversary. So
happy
anniversary. It's going to be a good day. We'll turn it around.
Wow.
I'm so happy. This show, before we get started, though, Damon, I want to make sure that I let everybody know that the Recovered Life is being brought to you by Recovered Life contributors and members like you. So we so appreciate you, and we want you to keep watching.
We do appreciate you guys, and thank you so much. And I know a lot of people are listening to us on iTunes and on Google Play and all of the, if you're watching us on video on YouTube, Facebook Live, IGTV, thank you so much. Hey, we've got a really great show today. It's going to be about a half an hour jam-packed, but a lot of really good stuff. So hold tight. So. And I want to get right into it. You found this really amazing article about why the non-alcoholic drink market is taking off. And
it's huge.
I want to talk with you about this because a lot of controversy about this.
There's controversy and there's also interest, which is why I wanted to bring it to the show. Because first of all, this was put in the finance section of Yahoo News. And so I thought that was very interesting. It's so important or interesting to them that they want to highlight it. And we've all heard of non-alcoholic beers. I think that you probably were told, like I was, Damon, that you don't drink non-alcoholic beers if you are in recovery because it can make you thirsty. And so I've always stayed in that camp. But in the last 5 years, it shows how it is tripled. I mean, the search for non-alcoholic wine is up 333% since last year.
Wow.
And it is a product of what we've already talked about in the past, which is this huge gray area drinking situation. And people are looking for alternatives. So I want to talk about the two types of non-alcoholic drinks. There are the spirits, which are designed to taste like non-alcoholic gin or non-alcoholic scotch. And I find those interesting personally because I never drank booze for the taste of it. Let's put it that way. So I find it fascinating that people do. But there's also another section of these new types of drinks that include nootropics and adaptogens. And they are very interesting to me because they are chocked full of different nutrients and supplements that help the body deal with stress. And so although I'm in the camp that I wouldn't necessarily touch the non-alcoholic beers or the non-alcoholic gin or wine, I would be very interested in these mixers that they're coming up with that have some health benefits.
Yeah.
What about you? What do you think about that?
I have, I'm in the other camp. I don't know about non-alcoholic beer. I was around some pretty hardcore 12-step people and they didn't believe in that. They didn't believe that it was an issue, non-alcoholic beer, unless you're drinking a case of it. Right. Now, I have to tell you, I'm just telling you, I'm not giving anybody permission to do it.
Yes.
I don't do it. I don't do that anymore, primarily because, for a lot of different reasons. But one is it was so controversial and I figured it's just too much. It's just too much mind power. Right. I don't believe if you've had a non-alcoholic beer, you've relapsed or that. That's my own personal belief right now. I'm not telling anybody what they should believe, but I think it's problematic, this mock cocktail thing, because I think that when you start getting into the, hey, it tastes like gin, hey, it tastes like bourbon, that wouldn't have worked for me. I'm just gonna tell you that doesn't work for me. That would play such mind games on me that I couldn't handle. I'm already paranoid if I go to a business thing and ask for a Diet Coke. I always feel it tastes funny. So for me, the obsessive compulsive Damon, no go on that.
No go. as always, conflicted about the fact that I think, well, if this helps somebody feel more part of, that's great. But for me, when I quit drinking, I had to get rid of the culture of it too for a while to protect myself. And I have good friends that pick up a non-alcoholic bottle of wine often, and they really enjoy it. Now, I don't think that would be very safe for me because, as I said, I never really liked the taste. I was chasing the dopamine hit, which was impossible to continue to have once I had that first drink. So I definitely, I think it's not nearly as black and white as it used to be. And I'm grateful that there's an alternative, but I love the idea of these new drinks that have options, that have these healing properties. I'm a big supplementer. I'm a big, herbs and all kinds of things to help increase my health and increase my brain patterns. So I'm definitely going to try one of those. I know like Katy Perry came out with one. It is obviously big business. And
well, look, I brought it up on the screen so people can see it. It is a Yahoo News article. Amy Poulter wrote it. Is that her? Yeah, Amy Poulter. And it was last year in October because right before the holidays, you and I had talks with people who had developed some of these mocktails. And you know that I'm always leery because I think here's the thing. I don't understand, honestly, if you're an alcoholic and you're drinking something specifically because it tastes like gin.
Right.
Now, here's the thing. What's the difference between alcoholic wine? I mean, isn't grape juice non-alcoholic wine? Right? Like, I don't get that. I don't understand that.
Right. Well, I know that, from what I understand is that it does taste like wine would. And there's some that are really good and there's some that are confusing. All of the data that came from this came from TasteWise. And so and that's a national research collective. And they talked about, we're looking at numbers of like 47% up the entire market, 52% up from in restaurant and bar sales. So I like the idea that a restaurant would offer this if you want an option. I also really like the idea of trying the new vitamin drinks or the new supplemental drinks that have the nootropics and everything. But I think it's something that each person should really think about and talk to your sponsor about it.
Yeah, here's my thing. I think for people who aren't alcoholics, I kind of understand this. Although, do you think people crave, like, people are like that are non-alcoholic? So I really love the taste of gin so much that I'm thinking, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I honestly think that some of this is a little predatory. I'm just gonna throw it out there. I think this is a campaign by a lot of people sometimes in order to skirt the issue.
It could be.
Look, if I was allergic to strawberries, and I had really broke out in handcuffs every time I had strawberries, right? Like, I don't know if I'd be looking for a faux strawberry alternative.
Agreed.
I just don't think I would. I'd go to boysenberries or something.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, you know what I mean? And this is how I kind of think about it. There's a lot of, we know that alcoholism in getting sober, you do interventions, Kristina.
I do.
You know that there's a lot of insanity, a lot of insane thinking,
yes.
right? Now, I'm not being accusatory when I say that. It even says that in 12-step groups. It's like it's a restoration of sanity. Like, there's a lot of not great thinking, and I think that this throws down if you're obsessed about is your fake gin gonna taste like real gin? Like, I just think that's just so prepping for disaster.
Right,
I can't even tell you.
Well, because how much easier it is to slip and just say, make this one a real one, or make this one an alcoholic one. Why not? We have no idea, but we have to stay protected. We have to stay in a protective state of our sobriety. If you truly are a person that should never have another drink in your life, I would say that the faux gin is not worth it, is what I would go with. It's not worth it to play around. Now, on the other hand, some people, this is how they get sober. This is what happens for them. It's like reduction of harm. You've heard of that in interventions, reduction of harm. And we had this huge thing in Clubhouse about Demi Lovato and her reduction of harm. And I noticed or heard recently that she's come out and is going to be declaring complete sobriety because it
Oh,
didn't
is
work
this the
for
whole
her.
California sober? I know we did an
Right.
episode on the whole
Right.
California. So this is one of those things too. Now, here's the thing. I'm all for reduction of harm. Like I get that. And I think as people figure out, it's like, hey, I'm an alcoholic. Do I have addiction problems or do I not have addiction
Right.
problems? I get this. I
You do.
totally understand that, like the
I do
stepping
too.
down of it
Mhm.
to see if you could take a time out to see if, hey, maybe I'm just a heavy drinker and I'm going to stop. Okay. I get that. But here's the other side of this that people don't talk about too, which is the percentage of alcohol game. Like I've known people who've said, I'm just going to be right out there, that if you've had a 0% non-alcoholic beer, that it has been distilled still, and that there's 0.000 whatever, right, of
Mhm.
alcohol, whatever that is. I don't even want to quote it. And I saw this huge debate once in a 12-step, right? And the person was like, no, you've relapsed, you've done the whole, and he's like, no, I haven't. And then this nutritionist was there and said, there's more in vanilla cookies. There's more alcohol to
Exactly.
the
I was going to say
extract in
that.
vanilla cookies than there is in one of these non-alcoholic beers, but the person's argument was, well, it's the thinking behind it. You didn't go into like, and I'm going to throw this out too, Kristina, and we're going to do an episode on this. I know there will be a time if you're sober long-term where you're going to drink alcohol accidentally.
Yes,
it happens
there
to
is.
everyone. There's no intention.
Yes.
You just were served something that has it. You didn't know, you did your due diligence, right? And the next thing you know, you're tasting something, right? And if you're me, I'm very super paranoid of that. So people who know me, I always check, and I have somebody with me if I go to parties.
Right.
That is my taster. I do. I'm gonna be honest with you, because I don't want to be in a situation where all of a sudden I take a swig of bourbon or whatever, but I've been into candy, or I've double checked that it's a
got a
virgin
dessert that was poured in
tiramisu.
liquor. Yeah,
exactly. Like I don't eat tiramisu.
Yes.
Like I don't eat tiramisu. Like that's what. But I know people who are sober who do eat tiramisu.
Yes.
They don't eat it every day, but every couple of years they'll have it. They're not running from it, right?
Exactly. I agree with you totally. And I've gotten those calls. Did I just lose my sobriety? And I really believe the intention behind that is not. You don't lose your sobriety date. You don't lose your recovery. It's a moment. It's a lapse maybe in judgment, or you are absolutely. So I've heard of people, their friends have given them a drink and said it was non-alcoholic, and it was. It's not funny when they do that, and it's disturbing, but I don't believe you lose your date.
Well, this has been a great segment. I think it's going to help a lot of people. I say, look, go with the Sprite. Go with the diet. Like for me personally, being sober for years or whatever. And I'm not opposed to non-alcoholic drinks in theory, especially for people who are sober. The hard alcohol, I totally don't
confusing.
Get.
Yeah.
But like, I don't understand the difference between a non-alcoholic champagne and apple juice. I don't really.
The Martinelli's.
And look, the sugar too. That's a whole other episode.
Yeah, can't go down there.
To be honest with you, I can't drink apple juice. I'm somebody who I feel the effects of alcohol when I drink. I stop drinking apple juice.
Absolutely.
I'm somebody that I'm too hypoglycemic. It hits me. I get a little dizzy. I feel a little high, right? And I've learned over sobriety, it's like, you know what? That's not a safe thing for me.
Nope.
That gives me a weird feeling. Now, it's 100% alcohol free.
Right.
But it doesn't do it for me.
I'm with you, but I will not sit, and it's not for me to decide for others. So
absolutely
that's why I wanted to have this conversation, and I wanted to share the differences between the two. I can understand maybe the taste of beer, and for anybody who's triggered, I apologize if it's a hot sunny day, but I know myself, and that beer would not be what I wanted, truly, and I don't want to be reminded of that. I don't want to be in that place. I just protect my sobriety more.
Well, absolutely a great episode, great segment. Thank you so much, Kristina. Before we go into the next segment here, I wanted to give a shout out and drop some information for some people that might be interested in this. We talk a lot about codependency. We talk a lot about, Kristina, about not being able to say no.
Right.
And we created this amazing free 3-day challenge. And it's all backed by Kristina Dennis. It's amazing. It's on Recovered Life. And let me tell people what this is all about. You might have identified that it's a struggle to say no, right? Like you
Mm-hmm.
just can't say no, right? And you're frustrated when you're always giving more than you're getting. We hear this a whole lot. And if this is you, we want to invite you to this free 3-day challenge where we're going to explore how to handle requests, set better boundaries, and how to deploy better communication techniques. Every day you receive a great email from
Yes.
Kristina Dennis, a video from her detailing what activities to practice for the day. So this challenge is totally right for anyone who feels overwhelmed. If you're an over volunteer, which I know there's a
So
lot of
many of
soccer
us.
moms out
Yes,
there, right?
so many of us.
You're always the go-to person in your office or your home, and
Right.
you feel trapped by all of your responsibilities. You always feel behind and you're worn out and anxious all the time. You might want to look at this 100% free challenge. So you can get the Can't Say No challenge by going to recoveredlife.us/can't say no. That's recoveredlife.us/can't say no. So take advantage of that. It's 100% free. You also get a free membership to the Recovered Life community and a vibrant conversation about
Yes.
how to say no.
Absolutely. It's so powerful, if I do say so myself, but it also gives you real tips on how to start today saying no.
And we put it up on the stream. Once again, you can get that totally for free at recoveredlife.us/can't say no. So we're moving on to the next segment after this small little break. Here we go.
All right.
You're listening to the Recovered Life Show.
And we're back. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning into the Recovered Life Show. Segment 2 today. It's going to be a winner here. Stress and addiction relapse. A huge thing right around now.
It is.
Huge thing. People came back, Kristina, to a kind of a COVID community. Let's admit it. And money's down for a lot of people, and relationships are tense because
isolation.
Everybody's been in. I got to tell you, I went to one of my favorite places on earth, though, and had a little glimpse of freedom.
Really?
I went to Costco. I'm a huge fan of the Costco.
I have to say no to Costco.
Come on. I'll coordinate with your husband. I think every soccer dad, every dad out there is a Costco fanatic. I was at my brother-in-law's house yesterday, so shout out to him. We were comparing what we love on Costco in Costco.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I've reached a new low in my life, I think, but I do. I love
You're
it.
Stretching.
I have to tell you. But I walked into Costco and the person was mask optional.
Really?
So anyone here that's listening that lives outside of California in a free America, you're going to be like, what are you guys talking about? But in Los Angeles, Orange County, San Diego County, mask mandates have been pretty strict.
Mm-hmm.
And that's caused stress too. I mean,
it has.
Looking at the kids so this whole thing, the stress, and I wanted to kind of do the segment about stress and relapse, a huge trigger, right?
It is huge. And a lot of us, because this has been so vastly different than anything else that we can look at, we don't necessarily have the pathway, for us. A lot of times in the recovery community, you will know somebody who has lost somebody, let's say, and you can go to them and get, input. You will have examples of how to walk through this, but COVID, nobody has an example. And I know a lot of people got sober. In fact, that's what, multiple episodes have been about, but there have been people who've lost their sobriety based on that. Like, it was just too much. And I think that we're starting to have conversations about mental health, but I mean, stress doesn't even really cover what's happening in our world right now. It doesn't even come close, right? And so they've either gone into anxiety or they've gone into fear. And, in order to be able to even survive, they've used alcohol for calming down their nervous system.
Well, let's admit it. Like, people who are in recovery deal with stress different.
Mm-hmm.
As a codependency coach, and I know we do a lot of rooms, and we're going to give a little Clubhouse plug. We're going to be on Clubhouse at 9 this morning?
At 9 a.m.
Yeah.
Pacific time, so 11 Central and 12 Eastern. We actually do those shows Monday through Thursday, and they are amazing. We have lots and lots of people in the room, and we have beautiful discussions about this so that we can all walk through these times and the things that are specific to us and realize we're not alone. Please, if you do not belong to Clubhouse, download the app, hit Recovered Life so that you can get notified when our rooms are on there. They're one of my favorite parts of the day.
And let me tell you, stress is a huge thing. We have a whole thing about stress and anxiety also on the Recovered Life app, and we talk about it a lot. Here's the thing. I think we fall under a couple of camps here.
Okay.
You know me, I'm always trying to categorize things,
you
right?
are.
So I'm that, and I'm the analogy kid. A shout out to my buddy Rich, who I'm stealing the title of the analogy kid.
Okay.
Who's probably listening to this right now. But we fall into two camps, I think, with anxiety. It's people who maybe have lived in an alcoholic home that repress anxiety. They're cool as a cucumber. War zone going on. You want Bob or Sue in your camp. They'll not even flinch, right? They handle it well. And then 2 weeks later, their whole nervous system breaks down. I'm one of those too, right? And then there's people who just from the get-go can't handle any kind of anxiety. Their whole nervous system just starts to collapse, right?
Right.
And you see this a lot in a recovery. I think it means different things. Having run groups and been part of the recovered community for a long time, I think there's different diagnoses that go with it. I find that the people who have that delayed response of anxiety and stress are much more fall into the ACOA. I hate to use these acronyms, but the codependency, adult children of alcoholics, exactly.
And dysfunctional families.
Absolutely.
They absolutely do. And actually this mimics throughout the non-recovery world too. Brene Brown refers to it as an overfunctioner or an underfunctioner. And I have met underfunctioners, whereas the plan becomes crystal clear to me. But the problem with an overfunctioner is, like you said, 2 weeks later it shows up and we have disassociated from our actual body. And the thing that I am envious of underfunctioners is that they know this is too much for them right then and they need help. And so whereas I might delay asking for help or not even understand where it's coming from, they know immediately I'm in it and this is what I need. So, either one is a struggle, but I believe the entire world is in those two camps.
Well, I'm going to tell you, not only I think are they in those two camps, I think when we talk about relapse, and when we talk about stress is a big thing because, one of the great things that 12 steps have given us and also just coaching and the recovered community has given us, although there's no one way that people relapse, there's not, right?
No.
There are signs who was it? Was it Les Brown that says success leaves clues?
Yes.
I can't remember who said that,
yes.
right? Well, relapse leaves clues too.
It sure does.
One of the clues that it leaves is that not being able to handle anxiety or stress when it comes in, not being able to process it healthily, in a healthy way.
Yes.
What happens is that it puts you in the future or the past.
Absolutely.
And we know that in the future and the past, if you're out of the present, you're much more likely to relapse.
Absolutely. And not being able to identify it. The first step is always identifying it. And the second step is being able to label it so that you have choices in your reaction to it. I know I work with a lot of people that the scariest thing is that they're feeling anxiety or stress and they don't know where it's coming from. And when we peel back their week, we can point to different things. And so you can, in your disassociated state, look at different things and know, even though you didn't feel stress about that incident at that time, most people would. And then the remedy is always the same. Calm your nervous system down. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself, both spiritually, physically, and emotionally. Do something extra. That's the other thing. Repairing the nervous system has to be everybody's job in recovery. Yes. First thing,
I think the big thing is also too, one of the things that I've learned is this whole concept of letting go. Just a little behind the scenes of Recovered Life here. We had a hard time getting the stream up for whatever reason. It works perfectly. And then this morning, we're all prepared. We're on time. We're ready to go at 8. The stream just starts to crash, right? So eventually I get stressed, right? And then eventually I try to repress that.
Right.
No, I'm not having it. I can control stress. And sometimes just the acknowledgement of,
absolutely,
wow, this is stressful. This sucks. And, I noticed that with stress, there were two things that would happen. I would have the instinct to run. Or I would have the instinct to fight.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And it's somewhere in between there where you just kind of let go. the acknowledgement of like, I've done all I can here. I'm going to let go of this has been the biggest thing to deal with stress and anxiety for me, is to say, I've done all I can do here. It's no longer in my hands.
So, and there is a difference, though, I think, between letting go and turning it over. So, letting go, let's say you have a coin in your hand and you open it up, you're letting go of it. You're not holding on to it, but it's still in your hand. And so I believe the second step of that is turning it over so that it's no longer in your hand. And that's part of what the spiritual awakening does.
Absolutely.
Letting us know that there is something out there that is a greater resource than just us alone. And that is important to mention as well.
Well, this has been an amazing segment too. We always talk about really interesting things. We created the Recovered Life because we wanted people to live their best recovered life. And that's what the show is about.
Yes.
And, episode 79, one of the reasons why we want to talk about, the non-alcoholic drinks, the stress and addiction relapse, all this stuff is because these are real things. This is actually what's going on in people's recovered lives, right? This is what we hear on the app. In the Recovered Life community, and it's what we hear on Clubhouse constantly.
Well, we live in a world that is insatiable need for the highlight reels, and recovery and living your best recovered life has to do with all the behind the scenes moments and acknowledging them, sharing them, making sure that you are asking for help, making sure that you're not feeling isolated. That's how we live the best recovered life we have.
Absolutely. This is going to conclude episode 79.
All right.
Can't believe this. Guys, if you're not going to join us, we're going to be in the next 5 minutes. We're going to be on Clubhouse. And if you're listening to this in replay, which you are obviously in the podcast or anything else, go to Clubhouse, download the app. That's free as well. And go to recoveredlife.us and you can join the community. You're going to hear all about it. We're on Clubhouse 4 days a week.
Beautiful
at 9 a.m. Pacific all the time. Great conference. And this is a way that you can not only listen to the Recovered Life show, but you can participate because Kristina and I are answering questions. We've got experts on all the time that you see on the show, contributors. It is really a blast, honestly. So join us there on Clubhouse. And definitely, if you're not a member of the Recovered Life community, go to recoveredlife.us. Join today. Tons of stuff. You're going to get access to a lot of amazing things. Kristina, episode 79 in the can.
We did it.
Any final thoughts here? Any final thoughts?
Just everybody have a beautiful Monday. Monday's your do-over day. So set your intentions and make sure that you take care of you.
And speaking of intentions, real quick, we are planning on broadcasting. Kristina and I are going to be on air 8 a.m. Pacific, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So we're expanding the show, and we can only do that through your help. So like, share, follow. Tell a friend about Recovered Life. Tell a friend. And
leave a comment.
We want to hear. Leave a comment. We want to hear what you have to say about this. Do you agree? Do you disagree with the non-alcoholic drink thing? Let us know. Okay.
All right.
Episode 79 in the can. Have a great day, Kristina.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Keep the conversation going. Join Recovered Life, a community of like-minded people who are looking to live their best recovered lives. Membership is free, and you can apply at recoveredlife.us.